And welcome back to the Hot Lap. If you were a WSR fan, well, you were in Cloud 9 at Brands Hatch this weekend at the British Touring Car Championship. If you were a fan of first-time race winners, again, I will point you towards Cloud 9 even. Yeah, all this and more from the BTCC at the weekend at Brands Hatch. So here we go. I'd like to start with an absolute Jason Plato tweet, which I thought was absolutely lovely. Yes, the goatiest of goats when it comes to TOCA. You've got to put him in your top 10. He is in our top 10. I digress. He said, it was an absolute joy to watch the new talent of the BTCC secure their maiden wins at Brands Hatch for the weekend. He said, bravo Charles and Daryl. I remember my first win in 1997. I remember it too. Boy, I'm old. Savour the moment, guys, he said, and reach for the stars. Both these wins were fully deserved. Huge congratulations. Touche. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this was the crowds in the pit lane. The pit lane opens at 9 o'clock for all of us to go. We were there live from the pit lane. Well, yeah, how could you walk through it? It was possible, believe it or not. I've never seen such crowds for that pit lane walk ever in Brands Hatch for the BTCC, which can only ever be a good thing. So I'm not saying it was a sellout because I don't really have access to the tickets, but it was busy and it was hot. And a record-breaking win for WSR. Two-time first-time winners, and Hill back on that top step. Now, if you remember at Donington, we were all saying, oh, no, is it going to be any good? That BMW looked horrendous. And I was saying they missed Colin Turkington, which I still think they may well throughout the season. But when they came to Brands Hatch, wow, that car was on a completely different level, pretty much, because they dominated the whole weekend with pole. And you had Jake Hill winning, you had Charles Rainford winning, you had Daryl Deleon winning. It was absolutely brilliant, and it was a really good racing. Race 1 was a kind of a bit meh, if I'm honest, but race 2 and 3, they hot up. But race 1 winner was Jake Hill, starting from pole. He essentially maintained the lead. Charles Rainford behind him. They were neck and neck, sort of at some point into that first corner at the start, where you thought maybe something's going to happen, but Charles ended up getting his first podium following Jake Hill home. But in second, we have Daryl Deleon, who took, I'm not saying a risk, but it was a ballsy move down the inside of arguably your team leader, the champion from last year, into turn 1 at Brands Hatch. And let's be fair, turn 1 passing in Paddock Hill Bend is not easy at all. But also, this guy had a good go at it as well. Both of them winning their first races. Again, congratulations, Daryl Deleon. Congratulations, Charles Rainford. It was absolutely fantastic. Here then is the moment Deleon accelerates ahead as he gets underway. So you can hear it. You can hear it here. They're absolutely going for it, and he kind of almost does his dummy, doesn't he, Deleon? Then just goes, no, I'm going to absolutely Daniel Ricciardo full send it down there, and then see you later, guys, because he ended up getting a nice-ish lead to win. So here it is again. So as you can see, he's behind. It looks like he's not going to go through with it. We were at the Paddock Hill Stadium section, well, grandstands, let's say. And then suddenly, he's like, yes, clean air. I can see air. And through Charles Rainford goes. Not Charles Rainford, sorry. Through Daryl Deleon goes. My mistake. Charles Rainford is next. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And here again, this time it's Charles Rainford going for the lead. And darts out. You know, the Napa Ford Racing. Roy Bottom has absolutely no chance. I do think that they do hit. He turns in. Yeah, they do. Yeah, he does barge poor old Roy Bottom out of the way. And then Roy Bottom, I can't help but feel that Roy Bottom, when you look at that, I mean, Roy Bottom turns in on him. He clearly turns in on Rainford, giving him absolutely no room. So he's only got himself to blame there because Rainford's got all that room there. And then obviously he carries on. And thank you very much, Charles Rainford, into the lead. Was not that easy though, because Roy Bottom really wanted that win. He was still going, but luckily Charles Rainford managed to get the lead. And it was significant at this corner here. A lot of people coming outside of the hairpin and normally kept on the inside, and it was very clear that Charles Rainford made sure that wasn't going to happen. And that was really key to his victory. Here is Jake Hill. Here is Charles Rainford on that victory.
I don't think it's sunk in, if I'm completely honest. You know, when you're in the championship, when you watch it from afar, you know, it's kind of, it's what you dream of to race in, and then to win a race, it's not going to sink in for a week. But I just want to thank my family really, and my sponsors. You know, the team. There's so many people I want to thank for this moment. You know,
I'm so happy for the whole team.
It's been such a build to get to this point. So to be able to do it in the way we have this weekend has been incredible. And just look forward to
our fans. An incredible weekend at Brands. But let's not forget the other stories coming out of Brands. The 100th podium for an Ash called Sutton. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. He didn't feature, if I'm honest, as much as I thought he was going to feature, which was kind of a bit sad. He was there. The first race he didn't do that much progress. I think up to 10th. But yeah, but he did get a podium in the end, so that was really good. And celebrating his 300th race was the man with the ginger beard, the none other than Josh Cook. Once again, didn't feature as much as I hoped in the race. I've been kind of disappointed with both One Motorsport and him, but fingers crossed, we're only at the second round out of 10. So these are, let's quickly then have a look at the results. So race 1, Jake Hill, Charles Rainford, Tom Ingram, nice. Then we had Adam Morgan in 4th, Dan Camish in 5th, Mikey Doble in 6th, Daryl Deleon in 7th. And to be fair, I mean, starting from there, or thereabouts, he did absolutely gangbusters, didn't he, for race 2 winning that. Sam Osborne in 8th, Dan Lloyd in 9th. Ash Sutton in 10th after starting 13th. Ronan Pearson 11th. Chris Marley 12th. Michael Crease 13th. Stephen Jelly 14th. 15th was Josh Cook. Aaron Taylor-Smith 16th. 17th James Dorlin. 18th Dan Rowbottom. 19th Dexter Patterson. And 20th, I mean, Aidan Moffat. He did a very good race through there, I believe, coming back. Gordon Shedden, what on earth is going on with Gordon Shedden? Tom Chilton in 22nd, Maxwell disappointing in 23rd, Nick Halsell 24th, and sadly DNF, something to do with the power steering, I believe, or some kind of issue, was Nick Hamilton. So if we scroll up then to race number 2, we have Daryl Deleon's first ever BTCC win, and he was, you know, fairly comfortable a few seconds ahead. Next up, Team Virtue, Adam Morgan. He does seem a lot happier with the Hyundai car. Ash Sutton getting that 100th podium. Then it was Chris Smiley, Aidan Moffat, Josh Cook, Charles Rainford, Jake Hill in 8th. 9th was Dan Rowbottom. I mean, Aidan Moffat 5th. That is not bad at all. I mean, let's be honest. You know, he would have started way back in 20th for that race. And Ronan Pearson. So that's your top 10. 11th Tom Ingram. 12th Tom Chilton, 13th Stephen Jelly, Michael Crease 14th, 15th Aaron Taylor-Smith, 16th Gordon Shedden, then Sam Osborne, James Dorlan, Nicholas Hamilton 19th, well done, that would have been from the back, Nick Halsell 20th, 21st Dan Lloyd, 22nd Mikey Doble, both of them a couple of laps down, a crash from Dan Camish. What happened was there was a crash between Maxwell and Dexter Patterson, which was interesting if you look back. There was a bit of a not fisty, argy-bargy, let's say the least. But then Dan Camish, just as the safety car had got rid of those two cars, which was quite a few laps, out comes Dan Camish, who's currently looking potentially good for a win. At the time, he had the soft tyres on, and he was going to be all over at the time, I think, the guy leading, Jake Hill. Then sadly, his car just went kaput on the, you know, on the back straight, essentially, and people just had trouble avoiding him and caused the safety car again, which was not good. So anyway, let's get to the final race. Race numero 3. It was Charles Rainford's first ever victory. So well done to him. Jake Hill second, not bad. Tom Ingram in third, and Jake Hill did some proper defending against Tom Ingram. It was really hard but fair. Ash Sutton fourth, Chris Smiley fifth, Josh Cook sixth, Tom Chilton seventh, Aidan Moffat eighth. Dan Rowbottom and Gordon Shedden round out the top 10. Yes, Gordon Shedden gets a decent result for once. James Dorlan in 11th. And the rest is Adam Morgan, Daryl Deleon, Dan Camish, Aaron Taylor-Smith, Michael Crease, Ronan Pearson, Sam Osborne, Stephen Jelly, and Mikey Doble. That's your top 20. And the last few are Dexter Patterson, Dan Lloyd, Nicholas Hamilton, and Nick Halstead. And sadly, Max Hall not finishing. I would say not after his absolute sensational Donington. Not the best, really, for Max Hall, which is kind of disappointing, I want to say the least. When we look at the Drivers' Championship, though, Ash Sutton's leading with 92. Tom Ingram is 87, not years old, points. Jake Hill on 80, so it's looking uber close between those two. Then Tom Chilton on 55. It's almost like League 2, isn't it? I'm not trying to be unfair to the drivers, but look at the points gap already. I'm sure that's going to potentially change. Adam Morgan on 5th, Dan Rowbottom on 6th, Dan Camish 7th, Chris Smiley 8th, Charles Rainford 9th, and 10th is Aidan Moffat. And Daryl Deleon 11th, very close to Aiden Mofat on 39 points, where Aiden Mofat is on 42. So that was the weekend. We are going to have our rundown. We took a few videos as well, which we're no doubt going to be talking about and doing. That'll take a tiny bit of time, which I can only apologise for. But until then, if you made it to the end and you're not subscribed, please, if you think it's worth it, give us a subscribe. We do motorsport videos daily. F1, rally, touring car. I'm sure we're going to expand that at some point, but sadly we don't have enough people to do. I'm only one person at the moment recording, so it makes things a bit difficult. Anyway, we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Stay safe. And again, cheers for watching.